Most dangerous 2020 candidate, billionaire investor we were just talking about him, Peter Thiel, revealing which Democratic presidential hopeful worries him the most. Take a listen to this.
I'm most scared by Elizabeth Warren. I think she's the one who's actually talking about the economy, which is the only thing that I think matters by far the most.
Yes.
And then I think almost all the others are equally unimpressive in the sense that it's all identity politics.
Now Warren is fully embracing the label, responding to the comments simply with good. Joining us now is James Freeman from the Wall Street Journal. He is also a Fox News contributor. What do you think about this assessment? Do you think that she's the most dangerous one from the perspective that she's talking about the economy and, like pointing to things that people would be dissatisfied with from a financial perspective?
Well, I certainly think that if you look at the polling, the fast riser in recent weeks has been Kamala Harris. But obviously, Elizabeth Warren has taken a lot of the Bernie Sanders vote. I think even people on the left have trouble differentiating between the Sanders agenda and Elizabeth Warren's. And that is intentional. It's a strategy that has worked to hold down that far left base. But I think maybe Peter should relax a little. I think a big flaw in the Warren message, like the Bernie message, is it hasn't really changed at all in years, and it's basically describing the Obama economy. Slow growth, wages not rising. I think the Democrats, to be dangerous on the economy, probably have to reckon with the success of the last few years and explain why they have a better alternative.
Well, because, so if you are a math or numbers type person, you point to the fact that wages have risen. If you are Bernie Sanders or you're Elizabeth Warren, you say, look, we're fighting for 15. When the minimum wage goes up, which the Republicans are fighting against, all wages go up because you have to give a bump to all of your workers. That sounds like wage growth to people that are, not paying attention to the fact that wages come from companies, not from the government.
Yeah, I think a lot of these Sanders ideas are really not that popular. I know it depends on how you ask questions, and depending on the poll, you can say people like socialism or they don't like socialism. I think they don't. I don't think the ideas were really vetted in 2016 because he was seen as a protest candidate. I think Peter Thiel is concerned that you have now with Elizabeth Warren sort of the Sanders agenda, but she calls herself a capitalist.
I mean, that's the thing that's so crazy. She says, oh, no, I'm for, fair capitalism or whatever it is, or, government, tightly strangling and managing capitalism until it chokes it to death. That may not be exactly what she says, but it's something similar to that. But people fall for it.
Well, I don't know that they fall for it. I mean, it's a message of large-scale tax increases, large-scale spending increases, which I don't think is really speaking to what most people want. And you look at these polls, we've talked about them, how even within the Democratic Party, a lot of people say they're moderates and are looking for that moderate alternative. We should also remember that if she's talking less about identity politics, that's not a strategic choice. She tried the identity politics route, identifying as a Native American for a long time. That falsehood was basically exposed. So that's one of the reasons she doesn't maybe want to talk about those issues so much.
What is the truth do you think about how people out there feel? If you listen to Democrats, they say that the rich got the tax cut, that, people aren't feeling so great. If you listen to what Jamie Dimon said on the conference call, wage growth is strong, consumers are feeling good, they have the best balance sheet they've had in a long time, that they have a lot of confidence. Where do you think the truth lies? Yeah,
it's funny because a lot of people, it's bizarre, even though the vast majority of taxpayers got a tax cut, many people don't realize that they did. And so the tax cut itself is not popular. I guess you could say the Democrats have won that argument, but it's the results of the tax cut, the faster economic growth, the opportunity. It's really that corporate rate cut, I think, which was the main part of that, has resulted in a good economy. And that's where you see that is the one issue, economic policy, where voters give President Trump majority support. And I think if Elizabeth Warren is trying to persuade people that this is actually a crummy economy and they actually don't have jobs, she's got a tough road to hoe.
And the secret sauce was that cut in regulation made a huge difference just to encourage business sentiment. James Freeman, thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.